New beginnings. I stepped out of my car and walked up the cobblestone path to my friend Jamie's quaint cottage in the heart of Asheville. It was her 30th birthday celebration, marking over a decade since we first met in art school. The thought brought a smile to my face as I reached for the doorbell and pressed it gently. The door swung open, revealing Jamie's partner, Mia, who greeted me with an enthusiastic hug. "Welcome, Taylor. So glad you made it. Grab yourself a drink, and don't forget to leave your present on the dining table." Mia was always the life of the party, ensuring everything was perfect despite the cozy space, feeling a little cramped with guests. "Thanks, Mia," I called as I stepped inside, ducking beneath a cascade of colorful streamers that adorned the ceiling. I placed my small gift wrapped in cheerful paper on the table, before making my way to the living room where laughter and music filled the air. The kitchen was buzzing with activity, and as I entered, I found Jamie in the midst of preparing appetizers while softly bickering with her friend Rena, who insisted that the birthday girl should not be working on her own special day. "Jamie, come on. You should enjoy your party, not labor over the stove," Rena urged, trying to wrestle a mixing bowl from her hands. I smiled, shaking my head as I leaned against the counter. "Rena's right, Jamie. You need to take a break. People are already arriving, and the food can wait." Jamie sighed and finally relented, removing her apron and hanging it on a nearby chair. Fine, I'll be right back. But the bruschetta won't be ready for another 10 minutes, so don't complain," she called back playfully as she hurried off to change. With Jamie temporarily out of the kitchen, Rena turned to me. "It's pretty wild having a birthday party in late January, don't you think?" I chuckled, grabbing a glass of sparkling water. "It's a fun way to kick off the year, though. Jamie's birthday is right after the holidays. The downside is that we'll see how many people made resolutions to cut back on drinking," I said, eyeing the sizable drink station that Mia had set up. "Not me," Rena declared, pouring herself a generous glass of wine. I raised my drink in acknowledgement and took a sip. "My resolution is to drink whatever I want and exercise more to balance it out. What about you?" "I might have made a bit of a cliché resolution," I admitted. "I'm throwing myself back into dating this year. I even downloaded a dating app, but so far the experiences have been, disappointing." My mind wandered to the series of awkward dates I had gone on, and I sighed. "Honestly, I sometimes think dating women might be more fulfilling than dating men." Rena's eyes sparkled with mischief. "2 dates in 2 weeks. You do you, girl. But for real, I get it. The struggles are real." She winked, and I nodded, appreciating the empathy. Before long, the once serene cacophony began to swell as more of Jamie's friends trickled in. I mingled, attempting to connect with the rest of her eclectic circle. Old college pals, co-workers from her art studio, and even a few classmates from our university years. Knocks echoed at the door, and I heard Mia's voice ring through the excitement. "Chloe, so glad you could make it." Moments later, Jamie's friend Kez sauntered over, draping an arm around my shoulder. "Hey, this is my other friend, Chloe. Take her under your wing, will ya?" he ordered playfully before disappearing into the crowd. Chloe appeared a bit shy and overwhelmed, so I introduced myself. "Hey, I'm Taylor. Want something to drink?" I asked, gesturing toward the drink station. A gin and tonic," she said, barely above a whisper. As I guided her over, she poured herself a strong drink, and I chuckled at her nerves. "Don't worry, it's just a party. I feel nervous at gatherings too." "Thanks, I usually don't come to these kind of things," Chloe admitted. "But Jamie insisted I needed to celebrate her birthday." "Absolutely. Let's make the most of it," I said encouragingly. In the next few minutes, Jamie bounded over and enveloped Chloe in a big bear hug, which made her almost drop her drink. "Chloe, so glad you came," she exclaimed. I could see Chloe's tension melt slightly under Jamie's exuberance. As Jamie pulled Chloe away to introduce her to more friends, Kez returned my attention. "Looks like she's trying to escape," he teased. Chloe made a resolution this year to come out of her shell, but Jamie might be pushing her limits. If Kez knew Chloe well, he might have been onto something. Within 30 minutes, I spotted Chloe curled up on a couch, staring at her half-empty drink as the others chatted around her. I decided it was time to provide some company. Hey there, how's it going? I asked, plopping down beside her. I don't know, this is a bit overwhelming. You might find better company elsewhere, she mumbled. Hey, I have no problem just sitting here quietly too. Or how about we go for a breath of fresh air? I offered, fully aware of how overstimulating parties could be. Chloe gave a reluctant nod. Okay, maybe that'd help. We slipped out into the chilly night air, the cold breeze brushing against our skin. It was unusual for the area, but the crispness felt refreshing. What did Kaz say to you earlier? I asked, curiosity brimming. She paused briefly before releasing a sigh. Just brotherly stuff. Nothing to worry about, she deflected. But I sensed something beneath the surface of her calm. I smiled gently. Kaz has a particular brand of humor. I didn't quite expect the reaction when I told him we were stepping out. Chloe's cheeks flushed before she spoke. He teased me about finding dark corners in the park. Dark corners? I repeated. He meant, I'm gay. And he was making a joke about us hooking up, Chloe blurted out, her face turning as crimson as the evening sky above us. I couldn't help but think how adorably cute she looked. That's why he gave me that look. I laughed, relieved that it wasn't my imagination. No offense, but that escalated faster than I would have anticipated. Chloe halted mid-step, clearly caught off guard. You're not weirded out by that? Nah, I'm used to Kaz being Kaz. I might have hinted to him about wanting to date this year. And well, a good number of those dates have been wiped from my memory. So not weirded out, I reassured her. Thank you for that, Chloe replied, relief washing over her. I'm not typically out about it. High school and college gave me a tough skin. I learned people can be harsh about it. I nodded solemnly. I'm really sorry to hear that. The world is pretty unfriendly at times. Chloe looked thoughtful for a moment. So, have you ever thought about dating a girl, or is it just men for you? Her question made me pause as I contemplated her under the street lamps, her breath forming delicate clouds in the cold night. I've thought about it, but the approach is a whole different game. I'm used to guys taking the lead. What if I took the lead? Right now. Chloe stepped closer, her confidence shining through, her gaze unwavering. The scent of her gin and tonic lingered in the air between us. My heart raced. I replayed Kaz's earlier teasing in my mind, unsure how to respond to such an unexpected proposition. Seconds slowed as I weighed the opportunities before me against the girl I had always been. Just as I perceived Chloe wavering, I felt a sudden rush of clarity. I whispered softly, yes. The air around us seemed to shift as Chloe closed the gap, her lips brushing mine gently. Part of me was shocked by how easily she had crossed the boundary. But instead of stepping back, I pulled her closer, deepening the kiss. Her hand caressed my cheek, igniting butterflies in my stomach that I hadn't felt in years. As we pulled apart, the world around us came into focus again, and I couldn't help but smile, feeling oddly connected to this girl I had just met. Should we keep strolling? Because I suddenly feel warmer. I have a way we could warm up, Chloe said, her eyes sparkling mischievously. And I couldn't help but chuckle. Lead the way, I replied, matching her playful energy. Instead of seeking out a hidden corner, Chloe led me on a gentle walk down the dimly lit streets, sharing stories and laughter that filled the empty spaces with warmth. I let myself embrace the connection, grateful for Jamie's celebration that brought us together. When we finally returned to the cottage, the party was in full swing. Jamie was surrounded by friends as she began unveiling her gifts. Kaz caught sight of us, eyebrows raised and mischief glimmering in his eyes, but he quickly returned to helping Jamie unwrap the surprises. As the night waned, I moved through the crowd, saying my goodbyes. Eventually, I reached Kaz, who pulled us both aside, an amused expression on his face. I was joking earlier, but maybe I shouldn't have, he confessed, glancing between Chloe and me. You really think I'm not used to your humor yet? Chloe replied, rolling her eyes playfully. I've had 24 years to figure it out. I added with a grin. And as per your direction, I'm just following orders here. I didn't mean dragging her into a dark corner of the park. I clarified quickly, realization dawning on me just how my words could be misconstrued. Kaz chuckled. Well, as long as you two work things out, I'm happy. Just you two have fun, okay? As I left the cottage, Chloe walked out with me. She intended to stay the night with Jamie and Kaz. Yet it felt essential to share a proper goodbye away from the party's chaos. We embraced again, our eyes meeting in unspoken understanding. Leaning in for a final kiss, her lips melted perfectly against mine, leaving behind an exhilarating promise in its wake. "See you Saturday?" I asked, anticipation fluttering in my stomach. "Absolutely. At 5 o'clock at Café Bellezza," she confirmed, her smile radiant. My heart swelled, knowing this year wouldn't be as lonely as the last, and something beautiful was just beginning. As I stepped away from our lingering goodbye, I felt a rush of excitement and warmth thrumming through my veins. With each step towards my car, I could still feel Chloe's lips on mine, a ghost of the moment replaying in my mind. The cold night air didn't bother me as much anymore. Instead, it felt invigorating, like a fresh start. Driving home through the softly lit streets of Asheville, I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. I thought about how far I had come since moving to this artistic town, and how, just a few months ago, I had felt stuck in a rut. Now I was exploring new possibilities, including love, and the prospect thrilled me. Saturday arrived sooner than I expected. I spent the morning trying to pick out the perfect outfit that expressed both my excitement and my laid-back personality. After trying on a half-dozen tops, I settled on a simple green blouse and my favorite pair of jeans. It was casual, but felt just right for a first date. When I arrived at Café Bellezza, the delightful aroma of freshly brewed coffee and baked pastries wrapped around me like a warm hug. I scanned the cozy cafe for Chloe, and there she was, a vision in a maroon sweater, her hair gently cascading over her shoulders as she chatted animatedly with the barista. "Taylor," she exclaimed, her face lighting up as she turned to see me. My heart did a little flip. It was as if the world around us faded, leaving just the two of us in that moment. "Hey Chloe." I grinned, moving towards her. "You look great." She blushed slightly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "Thanks. You too. I love that color on you." We exchanged pleasantries while waiting for our drinks, and as we found a quiet corner table by the window, I could sense a palpable chemistry simmering between us. We talked about everything: our favorite local spots, art school memories, aspirations for the future. With each shared laugh and knowing glance, it felt as though we were slowly dissolving the barriers that had once kept us apart. "So what's your artistic passion?" Chloe asked between sips of her chai latte. "I'm really into abstract painting," I confessed, feeling a little shy. "I find it liberating to express emotions with colors and shapes rather than words. It's like the canvas becomes an extension of my soul." "What about you?" She smiled as her eyes sparkled. "I love photography, capturing the essence of a moment, freezing it in time. There's something magical about being able to tell a story through a single image." We exchanged stories about our artistic endeavors and creative challenges until we lost track of time. I noticed how easy it was to be around Chloe. The awkwardness that often plagued first dates melted away as we grew more comfortable with each other. Just as we were about to dive into more profound topics, Chloe leaned in slightly, her voice playful. "So, what's your idea of a perfect date?" My chest tightened, nerves bubbling up as I considered her question. "Honestly, something like this, just enjoying each other's company, exploring new places, and perhaps some crazy spontaneous adventure." She smiled, her gaze unwavering. "Sounds perfect to me." As the conversation flowed, and the sun began to lower in the sky, casting golden rays through the cafe windows, I felt the urge to reach across the table. I took her hand in mine, letting the warmth of her touch wash over me. "Chloe," I said, taking a deep breath. "I know it's early, but being with you just feels so right. I'd really like to see where this goes if you're open to it." Her cheeks flushed, and she squeezed my hand gently. "I feel the same way, Taylor. It's refreshing to be with someone who understands and accepts me so easily." The connection was electric, and as we sat there, the world beyond us faded into a distant hum. We transitioned to talking about things that mattered deeply to us: life aspirations, dreams for love, and the challenges we had faced along the way. As we prepared to leave, our conversations became a mix of teasing banter and sweet moments, both shyly stealing glances. There was an unspoken longing hanging in the air, and I hoped our next date wouldn't take too long in coming. Can we do this again? I asked as we stepped outside, the crisp air invigorating. Absolutely. How about next weekend? She replied enthusiastically. I'd love that. We stood for a moment, our eyes on each other, both searching for courage in the lingering silence. Before I could think too much, I leaned in and pressed a gentle kiss against her cheek. Goodbye for now, but I'm already excited for our next adventure. Chloe smiled, the warmth of my kiss dancing across her cheeks. See you soon, Taylor. I can't wait. As I walked back to my car, my heart felt full. It felt surreal, imbued with the promise of new beginnings. With each moment, I realized I was ready to embrace whatever the future would hold. Weeks passed, and with each date, Chloe and I grew closer. We explored the vibrant art scene in Asheville, went on hikes, and even attended a few open mic nights, where she encouraged me to read my poetry aloud. Every laugh we shared, every sweet moment we created, solidified the connection we had started to nurture. One evening, after a lovely dinner on the rooftop of a quaint Italian restaurant, we took a leisurely stroll hand in hand through the glowing town square. As we paused near the fountain, the twinkling lights illuminating us, I felt an overwhelming urge to capture the moment in my heart. Can I tell you something? I said softly, looking down at our interlocked fingers. Of course, Chloe replied, her eyes bright and curious. I've never felt this way about anyone before. You've brought a light into my life that I didn't know I was missing, I confessed. It feels so natural with you. Chloe's gaze softened, but I couldn't read her expression. I feel that too, Taylor. It's been like a dream unearthing itself. My heart raced as I stepped closer to her. Would you like to be my girlfriend? Her eyes widened slightly, a mixture of surprise and delight flitting across her face. I'd love that, she whispered. The moment hung in the air, heavy with possibilities. I leaned in and kissed her, and it felt like home, warm and inviting. As we pulled away, both of us breathless from the kiss, I felt a sense of joy I hadn't experienced in so long. We stood there, wrapped up in the warmth of each other's presence beneath the soft glow of the street lamps. In that peaceful moment, I realized that my journey of self-discovery included the exploration of love in its purest form. With Chloe by my side, the world felt a little brighter and infinitely more exciting. A canvas waiting for our art to be painted across it, one vibrant color at a time. As we walked back, fingers entwined, I felt an unshakable resolve to cherish what we had and explore what lay ahead. It was the start of something beautiful, and I couldn't wait to see where our journey would take us next.